this is the reason why you should consider buying a Mercedes-Benz A-Class. You have 360-degree parking sensors all around. You have parking sensors in the back, as well as a reversing camera. So let's go have a look and see what it's like inside. So as well as having all that there, what does that turn out to be like inside? So I've got the car in reverse. You've got all your parking sensors all the way around. You can see your reversing camera, as well as where you're going to turn and park. So as well as that there, you also have something called dynamic. If I go into dynamic here, you have different settings. You've got eco, you've got comfort, sport, and individual. So you can obviously change things how you want them to be. But if we go into sport, you get a sportier look, more performance, and the car is generally a little bit quicker. So let's do some driving, let's see how it goes. So this is a prime example of where you need sport mode. I'm gonna drop it into sport mode here. There's cars, and all we do is we just have our foot down and we're in the flow of traffic.
Not bad.
Simple and easy as that there. No need to worry, no need to have any, don't have enough power to get out. And the gearbox works fantastic in this car. Honestly surprised.
So let's get to the specs of the car. So what are they?
We're looking at a 1.5 litre diesel turbo, obviously. It's got an automatic gearbox, front wheel drive, and it's 114 brake horsepower.
How many gears does the gearbox have in the car?
Yeah, so it's got a 7-speed automatic gearbox, which is obviously really good in this car. It's really responsive. You've got your different driving modes. You've got eco, comfort, sport, and individual. So in eco mode, it obviously changes a bit slower. The car doesn't have as much performance. Sport mode, ultimate performance.
Yep.
Eco, somewhere in between, comfort, somewhere in between, where you have a bit of eco driving and it's obviously comfortable, and you have individual. So if you want to go individual, what you can do is you can adjust the traction control, you can adjust the steering, and you can adjust the engine, how the engine reacts. Obviously that also affects the gearbox. So really nippy car when you have it in sport mode. If you need to pull out from a junction and there's cars coming, you can just go really nice and quickly and actually quite safely. If you compare it to a slower car that doesn't have those kind of horsepower.
And is it a torque converter or is it a DSG?
As far as I'm aware, it's just a standard torque converter gearbox. Nothing crazy there. Like I say, 7 gears, so you've got loads of ratios. And honestly, I was actually quite surprised in how comfortable and how quick the shifts were in this car.
Yeah, you don't feel them.
No, you really don't. You're looking at it, it's like third and fourth. Didn't even feel anything.
Exactly,
it just shifts really nice and smoothly, which is obviously fantastic. It's not like the old single clutch automatic gearboxes. But it's nowhere near as responsive as a DSG, but definitely a fantastic car for the average person driving it. You wouldn't have any complaints. And since we're driving down the countryside, we might as well put it into sport mode and have a little bit of a drive and see what it's like. So we're going to go into sport mode, indicator on. Let's go for a little bit of a scoot. So obviously you've been in a couple cars with me, and we've been in a couple nice performance cars. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, no, it's good. Really good throttle response.
It's a bit boaty,
yes,
but at the end of the day, it's not a performance car. This is the perfect example of why you would want a car for first car. It's nice and small, it's got all the creature comforts, it's got your Bluetooth, all your safety things, parking sensors, reversing camera, you've got all that. Really eco-friendly, cheap on insurance, cheap on tax, but you can still have a bit of fun with it. It's not like the old Corsas, they were just so slow, and it's 1.5 litre and it goes like anything.
Is there a noticeable difference between the two of sportiness and comfort when driving this car?
Yeah, so there is actually quite a noticeable difference. If we're in comfort mode, the car doesn't accelerate as quickly. It's got a slightly more relaxed acceleration curve. So it obviously accelerates, but it doesn't give you that maximum amount of brute force. It shifts sooner in the rev range, so you don't have the full rev range. And the steering is a little lighter, and it's not as responsive. It's not as sporty, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you go in sporty mode, you have used more of the RPM range. The gearbox shifts a bit quicker. You have obviously a bit more, play on the steering wheel. A bit tighter, sorry, not play. So when you drive in, you have a bit more feel of where the car is, and if you're driving, you can daily driving. Fantastic car for motorways. You can get fantastic consumption. You can drive nice and comfortably. And if you're on a back road, or you're on a B road, whatever you want to call it, you put it in sport mode. You can do your driving, and ultimately the nicest thing is, if you want to have that spirited, feeling in the steering wheel, but you also want to get really good consumption, and you don't want to have, let's say, the RPM or the too much power on the engine, you can go in individual. You can set it up so you want sporty handling, and the traction control to be more sporty. but you want the engine to be, let's say, eco. So you can have like, you know, whatever you want to do because you have the individual mode, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. So what is the history on this car?
Okay, so this car, my sister actually bought it, so it's her car. There's not really, I don't know exactly the previous history on the car, but it came from a dealer, and you know, it's not had any issues, drives nicely, it's comfortable, it's been reliable for her, and you know, perfect little car. You're obviously going to be buying a car shortly.
Yeah.
From a perspective of a new driver, what would you say, you know, obviously being in a car like this here, what does it feel like to you?
For a first car, this thing is pretty quick, I would say.
It is, yeah. Would you ever consider a Mercedes-Benz?
I think I might, but I'm just not too sure because this, like you said, it's a 2018, yes?
Yes, 2018, yeah.
Now, compared to maybe if I got a like an older, say, Polo, that could potentially be even cheaper on tax or insurance.
It's definitely possible, but if you were going to look at buying a newer car, I would definitely recommend Mercedes-Benz. I've got a couple of them personally, and you know, this is a family member's car, and you know, never had any issues with them. They've always been reliable, always been fantastic cars, fuel efficient. You know, that's kind of our you know, experience with them, and you know, I would highly recommend a Mercedes-Benz A-Class.
Absolutely. What would be some of the quirks about this car?
Oh, interesting quirks. When I was driving it earlier, I was in kilometers an hour. I had to change it over to miles an hour. But no, going back to quirks of the car, I mean, the other quirk this car has, now you're saying earlier that most cars do have this already, but it's automatic wipers, 2018, but it's another thing you don't have to think about. You know, as a first-time driver, you don't have to think about your wipers, you don't have to think about your headlights because they're also automatic. You don't have to think about, you know, breaking the speed limit, or what was the last speed limit you drove through, what was the last sign. If you forget about it, the car tells you, look, it was 40 or 30 or 60, whatever it is. So you can always be aware of your speed. You know, speed kills, and you know, this car's got great brakes. It'll keep you aware of your speed. And you know, it's got cruise control, it's got all the other functions you'd need for a first-time driver, for like them purely just to focus on the road and not have to be concerned with you know, what speed am I doing, you know, where am I going, all these things, and the fact you can talk to it as well, which is fantastic. So one thing that's quite important on a small hatchback is legroom space. I'm 6'2". The seat is in the driver's position, which is obviously my position. And what I'm going to do is remove this jacket first and show you legroom. I mean, it's not great, but I've been in cars with much worse. So let's go, going. Goodbye. Yeah, another interesting quirk is obviously in your different driving modes, you can obviously have more throttle response, less throttle response, but it's actually really quick off the line. You know, with this car here, we've driven a, you know, E430 Mercedes-Benz, the 4.3 litre V8, 3 litre V6 diesels, you know, a whole load of cars with a lot more power and a lot more torque. And honestly, this feels like it's got the most push off the line. You know, if I was going to choose a car to go from 0 to 20 or 0 to 30, this car here. Electric cars obviously a bit quicker, but you know, of all the cars I've driven, this is the quickest pickup. You know, it's there. Yeah. It just pushes you there to the point that it even loses traction. You're just trying to pull out of a junction. It's so quick. You can like spin the tires. Traction control comes on. Now, talking about space, what's also very important is knowing what you can put in the back. So currently we have the Merc with an empty boot besides my water bottle, which is very warm here. And we have a challenge. Come with me. We have a fridge. Will it fit in the back of the Mercedes? That's the question we need to ask. So let's get packing. So we've got a fridge, we've got 2 large bags, and we've got 2 tripods as well in the back of the car. Now we had to fold the seats forward, but we literally just stuffed it in. This is obviously not a full fridge, this is a half fridge, or an under counter fridge. We have our bags in here, and there's still loads and loads and loads of space here. What we could do is, if we packed it better, we can actually pack it so you have 3 seats still, so you basically only lose 1 friend. That's a price worth paying.
Now it's time to rate the car. So, first thing, future classic. It's an
So yeah, it being a Mercedes A180 diesel, which is the 1.5 Renault diesel, I'm gonna say realistically, it's unlikely But obviously, if it gets to the age of like 40, 50-year-old, it will be a classic, of course. So I'm going to go unlikely, probably more like a 2, to be honest with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you because
It's a diesel, it's not a performance, it's just a standard vehicle.
It's not the A45 AMG.
Yeah, A45 I would say would
or
be
even
completely
A35.
different. Yeah, a performance one will be different. But So the next question is it a good daily? And I think it's a fantastic daily. It's cheap on fuel. We averaged, I think it was 70 odd miles per gallon that
Something
day.
like that, yeah.
We could fit the micro fridge in the back of the space for 3 people with all our equipment and everything. It was actually a very nice car to drive, to be really honest with you. It's got all your features. It's got, I would say, daily wise, it is a pretty perfect car for a daily. The only thing I would say it would benefit from would be ever so slightly more space and more power. That's just my personal take.
Should we put it as a 7 or a 6? Because that is on the edge of not bad, not great, or perfect.
I would say it's a perfect daily car for the average person.
For the average person, yes.
I would say go 7.
Yeah, because keep in mind, hatchbacks are super common over here.
Yeah.
There's a big reason why hot hatches are popular here because it has the practicality and the fun. Now, yes, it's not a hot hatch.
Now, the benefit of the
hatchbacks are
the A180 diesel is also cheap on fuel, cheap on tax, cheap on what's it called, your insurance.
Yes.
It's obviously not a crazy performance car, so it should be more reliable than a performance car, and you have all the benefits of being a hatchback. That's why I think it's pretty much perfect daily car.
Okay.
Next one, will it hurt? It's a Mercedes, so in my general experience of having, it's like 7 of them we've had pretty much as a family, me having 3, they've been pretty damn reliable. I've never had any expensive issues or problems. So I'm gonna say it's not gonna be bad. I would say it'd be about average, to be honest with you. If something breaks, like a sensor, probably like £100 for a sensor, which is, it's on the expensive side. But I would say probably gonna be a 7. I'll call it a 7.
7, yeah, good idea. Okay, now fun. Like you mentioned in the video, it's pretty nippy off the line, but if it had a manual gearbox, that would give it a couple of points for fun.
Yeah, manual gearbox. It does have a lot of sway when you're driving. It's like driving a boat and understeer, yeah. But I think that could be down to the tires and stuff like that. So I think, to be honest with you, I would say probably be at a 3. It is fun on a perfect condition. Having perfectly clear roads, knowing the road, no unpredictable behavior, and no people on the road. It's like a kind of a car which is perfect for a track car because you know exactly the road conditions, but it's not the car you're going to take to a track event. Does that make sense? Besides taking, I don't know, the kids.
I would still put it as a 3 if I'm being honest.
I would maybe go for 3, I'd say.
Okay. So that gives us a total of 19.
Which is 47.5%, which is not bad at all.
Really good.
Pretty much just under half. And now, like I say, we mark these really harshly. And the top one we've ever scored is 60%. So 47.5 is pretty high up there.
Well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Make sure you like, subscribe, and what car have we got next?
We have a Mercedes C-Class, and we're going to explain why we think it is one of the best cars for the average person.
Absolutely. So I guess you'll have to catch that in the next one. So, thanks for watching. See ya. Bye. So what's the history on this car?
I have no idea.
The history on Mercedes is now.
So Mercedes-Benz is actually from Carl Mercedes, and his daughter was Mercedes, so he called it Mercedes-Benz after his daughter. But
I actually didn't know that.